Welcome to X Confessions Unlocked, where X secrets spill, revenge gets served, and sometimes X's come crawling back. Subscribe now for real, unfiltered stories about love gone wrong, and sometimes very right. Drop a comment with your X drama. Yours could be next. Family isn't just blood, it's trust. And mine? They stabbed me in the back, smiled while the blade was still in, and lied to my face for years. But here's the kicker. Now that I'm successful, they're crawling back. This is the story of how I found out my ex-wife and my cousin had a baby, and why hell hasn't even begun to freeze over. 3 days ago, my mother called me for the first time in 2 years. Not to wish me happy birthday. Not to ask how my multi-million-dollar tech startup was doing. No. She said, "Jason, we need to talk. It's about Noah and Lillian." Noah, my cousin, my best friend since we were kids. Lillian, my ex-wife, the woman who swore she'd never recover after our divorce. Turns out, she recovered just fine in Noah's bed. And they had a kid, a 5-year-old daughter. My family knew. Everyone knew. Except me. Let's rewind. 6 years ago, I thought I had it all. Married to Lillian, gorgeous, ambitious, loved her designer labels more than air. I was a broke software engineer back then, but she'd say, "Baby, we'll make it big together." Noah was always around. Hell, he was the cool cousin, drove a BMW, worked in finance, always slipping Lillian compliments. "Jace, you're lucky," he'd say. Funny how luck works. The first crack, Lillian started working late with Noah. Said they were collaborating on a startup idea. Me, I was naive, until the night I came home early and found her shirt in his car. Not hers. His. She swore was innocent. Noah backed her up. My family? They told me to stop overreacting. 2 months later, Lillian asked for a divorce. "We're just too different," she said. Funny. She didn't seem to mind our differences when Noah bought her a Cartier bracelet the week after. After the divorce, I cut everyone off, moved cities, built my company from scratch. Meanwhile, Lillian and Noah, they drifted apart, or so my aunt claimed. Then, last year, my sister slipped. Sent me a pic of a family reunion. There was a little girl in it, blonde like Lillian, but with Noah's smirk. I confronted my mom. That's when she broke. "Jason, they didn't want to hurt you. The baby was an accident." An accident, right? Like the accidental text I found from Noah to Lillian. "Tell him tonight. We can't hide her forever." 5 years. 5 years they let me think I was the problem. 5 years they played happy family while I slept on a futon in my startup's office. So why is my mom calling now? Because Noah's bankrupt. Lillian's drowning in debt. And my company just landed on the Forbes list. Suddenly they miss me. They want family dinners. Oh, and Lillian? She left me a voicemail yesterday. "Jason, you're the only father figure Mia's ever known." Funny. She didn't care about that when Mia was born. But don't worry, I've got a plan. And it starts with one word. No. I sat in my penthouse office, staring at the divorce papers I'd kept all these years. The ink had faded, just like Lillian's lies. But some things don't fade. Like the way my hands shook when my mother finally admitted the truth, that my cousin Noah and my ex-wife had been raising a child together for 5 years. A child they convinced everyone was mine. I could have burned their lives to the ground right then. But revenge? That needs patience. Needs planning. So I did what any betrayed man with newfound millions would do. I invited them to dinner. The night arrived like a slow-moving storm. Lillian came wearing that blue dress I'd always loved, her apology outfit. Noah kept adjusting his collar like it was a noose. My parents sat between us like frightened referees. "Your home is beautiful," Lillian said, her fingers tracing the marble countertop. I remembered when she called my old apartment a rat trap. Now she wanted back in. Wanted me to play daddy to a child that wasn't mine. Noah made small talk about stocks. Always the finance bro. I let him ramble. Let them all think I'd called this meeting to forgive. Then I stood, walked to the living room TV, and pressed play. The security footage showed Noah and Lillian in our old kitchen, 2 weeks before she'd served me divorce papers. Once he signs, Noah was saying, "We just need to wait until his trust releases at 35. Lillian had giggled. Actually giggled. The room went dead silent. I turned to see my mother's wine glass slipping from her fingers. Noah had gone sheet white. And Lillian? She was doing that thing where her left eye twitches when she's caught. "That's edited," Noah shouted. I didn't bother responding. Just pulled out the manila folder I'd been saving. Inside were 3 things. First, Noah's bank statements showing regular deposits from my father's estate. Money meant for me. Second, Lillian's emails to her divorce lawyer admitting she'd known about the affair pregnancy before we'd even separated. And third, the paternity test. Mia isn't mine, I said calmly. We all knew that. But here's what you didn't know. She's not Noah's either. The blood drained from Lillian's face. My mother actually gasped. Because the test results in my hand? They matched Mia's DNA to someone else entirely. Lillian's former boss, the married man she'd been working late with during our marriage. Noah lunged at me then. 5 years of lies, 5 years of playing house, and he'd never even been the father. Security dragged him out screaming. Lillian followed, sobbing about how I'd ruined everything. My parents left without a word. I stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows watching them scatter like roaches in light. The doorman called up an hour later. Child Services was downstairs. Turns out, when a multimillionaire reports suspected welfare fraud and paternity fraud, the system moves fast. They took Mia that night, temporary foster care, while they located her real father. And as I pour myself a drink, my phone lit up with the first of many desperate calls. From Noah, from Lillian, from my mother, all begging, all promising, all lying. I didn't answer, just watched the city lights flicker below. Because here's the thing about revenge. The best part isn't the explosion. It's the silence afterward. But this isn't over. Not even close. Because yesterday, a certified letter arrived. From a lawyer. Apparently, Lillian's pregnant again. And this time, she's swearing it's mine. Last time, I exposed Lillian and Noah's 5-year lie. Mia wasn't mine. Wasn't even Noah's. But life has a sick sense of humor. Because now Lillian's holding a new paternity test. This one says I'm the father of her unborn baby. Problem is, I haven't touched her in 6 years. Her lawyer's letter came certified mail. Paternity established via blood sample. Impossible. Until I saw the date. The test was from 3 days after our divorce. Back when I was still donating blood weekly for cancer research. Turns out St. Mary's Hospital had a security breach last year. Hundreds of DNA samples stolen. And suddenly Lillian had proof I'd knocked her up post-divorce. Her demand? $5 million, or she'd go public. Think of your company's IPO, the letter said. Funny, she never mentioned thinking of the child. I called Noah first. Not to fight, to warn him. She's playing you too. He hung up, then showed up at my door 2 hours later with hospital records, fertility clinic visits from when we were married. Lillian had been infertile. Doctor's notes said near zero conception chance. Noah's hands shook holding the papers. I paid for those IVF rounds. She told me they failed. We stood there, two betrayed men realizing the same woman played us differently. We met at our old marital home. Lillian glowed in maternity, where that same diamond bracelet Noah bought her glinting on her wrist. Boys, she smiled, like this was some twisted reunion. I dropped the stolen DNA report. Noah threw down the fertility records. Her smile didn't falter, just reached into her purse and produced an ultrasound. Due in 5 months, she said. Jason, you always wanted a real family. That's when the back door opened. Noah's wife, the woman he'd married while secretly co-parenting Mia, walked in holding a syringe. Stole this from your clinic, she told Lillian. HCG levels show you're not even pregnant. Lillian lunged. The syringe rolled under the couch. And in that chaos, her phone lit up with a call from the private investigator I'd hired. Turns out Lillian had a pattern. 3 years before me, she'd done the same thing to a surgeon in Boston. Faked a pregnancy. Got $750,000 in child support for a baby that never existed. The PI's email included photos. Lillian in different wigs at different clinics. Lillian researching my inheritance timeline. Lillian texting Noah that first year. We need Jason to believe it's his. The ultrasound? A $300 prop from some movie supply shop in L.A. Police arrested her for fraud that night. Noah's wife filed for divorce. And Mia? She's with her biological father now. That married boss of Lillian's who turned out to be a decent guy trapped in the same web. Last I heard, Lillian's trying to sell her story to Netflix. Noah moved to another country. My parents? They sent a fruit basket. No card. People ask if I'm happier now. Truth is, I don't feel much of anything. Except maybe this, when the elevator doors opened yesterday, and I saw Mia standing there with her real dad. For the first time in 6 years, I didn't see a lie. Just a little girl who never asked for any of this. Maybe that's the real revenge. Not the money. Not the exposure. Just living well. Was there ever a part of her that loved us? Drop your comments below. And if you've been played like this, just know the truth always comes out. Eventually. Lillian convicted on 12 counts of fraud. Noah's ex-wife now runs support group for scam victims. Mia visits me twice a year by court order.